Hello everyone, and welcome to Lesson 15 of my English videos. Today we're going to talk about the direct and indirect speech. Direct speech. When we want to describe what someone said, one option is to use direct speech. We use direct speech when we simply repeat what someone says, putting the phrase between speech marks. For example, Paul came in and said, "I'm really hungry." As you can see, with direct speech, it is common to use the verb to say or said in the past. But you can also find other verbs used to indicate direct speech, such as ask, reply, and shout. For example, when Mrs. Diaz opened the door, I asked, "Have you seen Lee?" She replied, "No, I haven't seen him since lunchtime." The boss was angry and shouted, "Why isn't he here? He hasn't finished that report yet." So here we used the three verbs asked, replied, and shouted. Indirect speech. When we want to report what someone said without speech marks and without necessarily using exactly the same words, we can use indirect speech, also called reported speech. When we report things in the past, we usually change the tense by moving it one step back. For example, in the following sentence, the present simple becomes the past simple in indirect speech. Here's the example of direct speech. I have a new car. In indirect speech, it becomes, he said he had a new car. So the present simple became past simple. We moved it one tense behind. Here's a table that sums up all the different tenses and how they change when we change a sentence from direct speech to indirect speech. I'll walk you through it. If we have a sentence in the present simple in direct speech, for example, he said, "I live in the city center." In indirect speech, we change it to the past simple. He said he lived in the city center. If we have a sentence that's in the present continuous in direct speech, for example, he said, "I'm going out," we change it to past continuous in indirect speech. He said he was going out. If we have a sentence in direct speech using the present perfect, for example, he said, "I've finished." In the indirect speech, we change it to the past perfect. He said he had finished. If we have a sentence in direct speech using the present perfect continuous, for example, he said, "I've been studying a lot." In the indirect speech, we change it to the past perfect continuous. He said he had been studying a lot. If we have a sentence in direct speech that uses the past simple, for example, he said, "I arrived before you." In indirect speech, we change it to the past perfect. He said he had arrived before you. If we have a sentence in direct speech using the past perfect, for example, he said, "I had already left." In indirect speech, it remains the same, so it becomes, he said he had already left. If we have a sentence in direct speech using the future simple, for example, he said, "I'll be there at 2 p.m. When we change it to indirect speech, we change will to would. He said he would be there at 2 p.m. If we have a sentence in direct speech using be going to, for example, he said, "I'm going to call Alan." In indirect speech, we change be to the past. He said he was going to call Alan. Now change the following sentences to indirect speech. Danny said, "I like ice cream." Before you continue, I want you to pause this video and write down your answer, and then play the video again and see if you got the answer correct. So change the sentence to indirect speech. How do we change it? And then do the same with the other examples. Danny said he liked ice cream. So here in the first example, we had the present simple and we changed it to the past simple. The next example. Sally asked me, "Do you play the guitar?" How do we change it? It becomes, Sally asked me if I played the guitar. So here we have the present simple. It also changed to the past simple, and do or does or did becomes if because it's a yes-no question. Diana told me, lower your voice. So here we have a command. How can we change a command to indirect speech? Diana told me to lower my voice. So whenever there's a command, we need to use to and then the base form. Harry said, I haven't been to Paris before. How do we change this to indirect speech? Harry said he hadn't been to Paris before. So here we have the present perfect. We change it to the past perfect when we change the direct speech to indirect speech. Let me know in the comments how many you got correct, and I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching. As always, see you in the next one.